Hello everyone, my name is Strange, and I believe that people should know the truth. After the release of the video with a story about a strange encounter with aliens in the forest, I received an email from our viewer. That's what she writes. Though it was strange for a long time, I thought that was crazy, that I had imagined all that I had experienced. I even wrote a story about what happened, but I was afraid to show it to anyone, because even in the format of a story, it's all very strange and scary. But after seeing your video, I realized that I'm not alone. Please tell my story to people. It will be easier for me if people find out the truth. For the safety of our subscriber, all names have been changed. Here is her story. The day was too long for me to have any strength to walk home. That's why I had to order a taxi. There was complete silence in the car. Only the sound of the engine and wheels could be heard. "Why are you coming home so late?" Suddenly, the driver's voice was heard. I hesitated, not even understanding the question at first. "They left you for the second shift, but why are you interested?" The driver shrugged, keeping his eyes on the road. There was silence again, but after a few seconds, it was interrupted again by a man. "You must be paid a lot for such hard work." I chuckled in my heart. "No, sir, it's not like that at all." He said nothing again, and then took one hand off the steering wheel and held it out to me. "I'm William." "Jennifer," I said, holding out my hand in return. "Yes, I know." At first I didn't understand how he knew my name, but after a moment it dawned on me. He must have seen my name on the taxi booking site. We continued on the road in silence, and I watched Boston at night from the window until the car stopped. "Goodbye." I handed him a bill at $9.44. The taxi drove away, leaving me standing on the wet asphalt road. I ran home as fast as I could. My apartment was on the ground floor, so I quickly reached it. "Tom." "I know him." Surprisingly, there was only silence in response. Tom is my younger brother, and after our parents went missing, I became his legal guardian. The boy was still that restless and demanded a lot of attention, which I could not give. "Tom? Maybe he's sleeping," I thought. Taking off my outer clothes, I went into the room. It was empty. It was the same situation in the kitchen. My brother was nowhere to be found. "Tom, where are you?" There was only silence in response. "That's enough. Come out. I'm not playing hide and seek." For the first time in my life, the frightening silence sounded so deafening, and my heart seemed to skip beats. What if Tom is missing, left home, and got lost? Or worse, what happened? But at that moment, I heard a rustle behind my back and immediately realized that he probably wanted to scare me. I pretended not to notice how he was standing behind me and continued to wait for a few more seconds for him to jump out shouting "boo." But nothing happened, just silence. I wanted to call him, but as soon as I turned around, I saw only a vague tall shadow. I didn't even have time to scream. Someone's nasty sticky hand pressed my mouth. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I do not know how many hours later I woke up, but my body ached as if someone had used me as a soccer ball. I started looking around and was horrified when I remembered what had happened to me. I was kidnapped. There was no light, of course, and I had to look through the veil of darkness. It turned out that I was in the storage room. Finding the door handle by touch, I pulled it and was immediately blinded by a bright light. After getting used to the bright light a little, I finally stepped out from behind the threshold. There were different control panels around. Everything was flooded with different buttons and levers. "What the?" I whispered to myself. With short steps, I made my way to the center of the room. My legs buckled, and my eyes were running in different directions. My mind couldn't focus on one thing. "Jennifer?" A native voice was heard. "Tom?" I ran towards his voice. My brother was crying and desperately calling for me, and I ran to him, sweeping away everything in my path. "Tom." I opened the door to the room where his voice was coming from. "Jennifer," my brother shouted. He ran to meet me, but in an instant something intercepted him. My heart skipped a beat. An incomprehensible creature with long, skinny arms grabbed my younger brother. For a moment, it seemed to me that my whole body was paralyzed and I stood scared, not daring to move. But as soon as I heard Tom's startled scream, I rushed towards the monster, forgetting about my fear. "Let him go." I was grabbed by the same vile creature from behind. I resisted as much as I could, but I was very weak compared to them. Not going to give up, I kept kicking and pulling away from the grip. "Let them go." As soon as we heard that painfully familiar voice, the monsters immediately let us go. My brother and I rushed to each other and locked arms. Now that Tom was around, I decided to look at our rescuer. and at the same moment she froze. "Are you?" That taxi driver William was looking at me with a blank expression on his face. Yes, Jennifer, it's me," he grinned nastily. Then, with a light gesture, he ordered those creatures to move away from us, and they immediately obeyed his command. "Oh, dear Jennifer, you have so much to learn." William squatted down next to us, and then reached out and touched a strand of my hair. I immediately recoiled, waving away his hands, while hugging my younger brother tightly to me. "Why do you steal us?" I almost cried out. "No need to get hysterical. I'll explain everything, but first, let's settle down wherever it is more convenient." In just a moment, these monsters brought chairs from somewhere. Now I finally have a moment to get a better look at these alien weirdos. Just the sight of them made me shudder at once. Their disproportionate, emaciated body is in a dead purple shade. The head was huge compared to the body, they just had 2 holes instead of a nose. But the most frightening thing is their bottomless eyes, just like those of some insects. The aliens emitted a terrible cadaverous smell, and their bodies seemed to pour out tons of vile mucus. We got from the floor in disbelief and still sat down on the chairs. William began his story. "It all started 20 years ago. I met a girl named Mary. Suddenly, I felt a twinge in my heart. Mother, he's talking about her. But how does William know my mother? Mary was one of us. She wasn't human. She had alien blood in her, and I thought we were made for each other. But Mary didn't love me. She fell in love with a stupid little man. She betrayed our people, and therefore soon paid the price. What did you do to Mom?" William's lips curled into a sinister smile. Is he involved in the disappearance of his parents? I didn't want to believe it. The realization that we are now trapped by a man who has deprived us of our father and mother made me shudder. Mary escaped from her people to another planet, decided that she could hide and live a human life. A pathetic traitor, she clearly deserved what we did to her. Tom moved closer to me and settled closer. I felt how scared my brother was, and I felt the same way he did. But I tried to seem stronger. I'm an adult, I always have to help everyone. It's my duty as an older sister to be afraid of nothing. Where are we? Having gained strength, I asked a question. It's a UFO, my dear. I understand this may seem like a joke, but if you don't believe it, the window will help you. At the same moment, my brother and I rushed to the round porthole. Beyond the glass was a bottomless, dark and mesmerizing cosmos. We were in space. All chances of escape and rescue immediately disappeared. We are doomed. Why? Why are you doing this? Bitter tears came to my eyes. What have we done to you? Tom is still a little boy. He didn't even have time to go to first grade. We are not to blame for what our parents did. Maybe you didn't do anything, but according to the rules of our planet, children bear the burden of responsibility for their parents' actions. But we are not on your planet. But you have alien blood flowing in you. With these words, William seemed to put an end to our conversation. But I wasn't going to stop. Not today. And what will you do with us? At the same moment, everything went quiet. Everyone held their breath, and the buzzing of the machines suddenly stopped for a couple of seconds. I've never been in such silence in my life. It was only 5 seconds later that William looked up and looked me straight in the eye. I'm sorry, but you were supposed to be my children. Mary made a mistake. She gave birth to you. Before I knew it, the aliens began to slowly approach us, and William was walking briskly out of the room. They wanted to kill us, to kill completely innocent children. Jenny, I'm scared. My brother muttered in a half-whisper, will they kill us? I didn't want to die, we had to live. Was it really all for nothing? Our whole life will end like this in a minute. No. I grabbed Tom's arm and rushed forward behind the monsters. We ran as fast as we could without looking back. I could feel the vile creatures chasing us, stomping loudly with their huge, clawed paws. I could hear them growling, baring their sharp teeth. My heart was beating deafeningly, as if it would jump out right now. Tom, please don't stop, I shouted, tightening my grip on my younger brother's wrist. We rounded a bend and found ourselves in a cramped corridor, engulfed in pitch darkness. This way, I whispered, pulling my brother with me into some kind of closet. I closed the door behind me and pressed my back against it. We were trying to catch our breath. Tom snuggled up to me and whimpered softly, trying to calm down. I stroked my brother's hair. Everything will definitely be fine, necessarily. I was on the verge of bursting into tears right there. It turned out that a small room was supposed to be illuminated by one lamp, but it had already burned out and only occasionally began to blink. Suddenly, footsteps were heard. I hugged my brother to me and held my breath. The monsters roamed the corridor. They scraped the floor with their long legs, probably leaving behind traces of sharp claws on their paws. I could feel them breathing. I could hear them falling silent and stiffing as they continued their search. Pressing my hand to my face, I tried my best not to make even the slightest rustle. And now it seems that all the creatures are gone. I relaxed and finally inhaled the desired air. My brother and I were about to get up, but at that moment, there was a deafening scream right outside our door. It was there, right outside the door. I clung to Tom with all my strength, closing my mouth in fright so as not to scream. Tears quietly dripped onto his knees, and his breath disappeared and reappeared. I prayed that they wouldn't find us. I prayed to all the gods that exist in this world, and it seems they heard me. That day, we fell asleep in this closet with our arms around each other. I tried not to let go of Tom for a second, clinging to him with a death grip. His small defenseless body was trembling in my hands. It hurt me that I couldn't do anything. We woke up in the morning to a scream coming to us. It was William. How could you lose them? Where do you think they went? Search all corners and find them. A shudder went through my body. Tom was still asleep, curled up against my chest. If we haven't been found yet, then maybe there is at least some percentage that we can escape. At least that's what I kept hoping for. We had to get out of here as quickly as possible. I woke Tom up and we gathered our thoughts and quietly went out into the corridor. It was still dark here and only one flashing lantern illuminated our path. It was incredibly scary, but we tiptoed quietly down the corridor. Many footsteps were heard from behind and my brother and I hurried to the front. Wait, there was a soft female exclamation. We stopped and turned around. A short girl with her hair tied in a ponytail was running towards us. I'll help you out, she said sharply. We looked at each other incredulously. Who are you? The girl smiled faintly. I'm your aunt. I stared at the stranger in surprise. An aunt? I wanted to ask her again, but she beat me to it. We don't have much time, go ahead. Follow me. We ran after our aunt without looking. Everything was going very strangely. I ran after her, holding my brother by my side so as not to lose him. Aunt Averin, my aunt suddenly blurted out. We went out into the main hall where Tom and I met William yesterday. Surprisingly, the room was empty. Averin ran to the control panel. It felt like she understood this more than we did, so I decided to just trust her. My aunt started pulling the multicolored levers in different sequences, while I looked back every second for fear of being caught. We don't have much time. Sit in these chairs and buckle up. The request was fulfilled without hesitation this very minute. Averin, what's going on? William and the others went outside. We have an opportunity to escape. The brain couldn't believe it. Do we really have a chance to survive? Jennifer, listen here carefully. She turned to face me. Now we're going to fly away, leaving them here in outer space. Do you understand me? I nodded. And at the same moment, my aunt turned to the control panel and pressed the start button. Everything shook. Tom grabbed onto me to keep his balance, and so we flew away. We left William and his gang of aliens in an open, boundless space, fraught with many terrible secrets. We were saved thanks to my aunt, although, as it turned out later, it was more likely that my aunt was saved thanks to us. She had been held captive by these creatures for many years because of her sister's act, and Tom and I will definitely appreciate what she has done for us. If you think that this is not proof of the existence of aliens, then you are right. There is much more evidence, and on our channel we will reveal all the secrets and evidence of their presence. Subscribe to the channel and send me your stories related to aliens by email. You will find contacts in the About the Channel section. If I haven't answered you, then I'm still checking on you, because the special services of all countries have announced a hunt for me. But together we will force the authorities of all countries to disclose all the information they have. After all, people should know the truth.